All right. Hello, everybody. How is it going? So I need some thumbs up. Can you guys hear me okay? Do we have, okay, I think we can. I think we are all good to go. Okay, well, I hope, are the human APA rules going to be on the quiz tomorrow? Of course they are. Yes. You definitely need to know, about those. All right. Cool. Okay. So, yeah, make sure that you know those. Remember the rules on human test subjects is a little more important, more likely to be on the exam. All right. Yeah, the animal rules are fair game as well, but like if you're talking a game of percentages, you got to think about the ones that are highest on the list or like most applicable, and those are the ones you should pay attention to. Okay. So we will get this party started. We're just going to get right into it. I will start posting some questions as we wait for a few more people to hop on. So let's do this. So again, just the way that this is set up, all I'm looking for you to do is if you have any specific questions, you go ahead and ask me, and I'm going to post questions, and then your job is just to answer them. So this is just you kind of tracking where you are knowledge wise and how you're feeling for the quiz tomorrow morning. So let's start with the first one, and you will have to excuse me every once in a while. I'll post a question that's like it's presented as if it's supposed to be a multiple choice question. So it's like, which of these, just there won't be multiple choice unless it's something specific. So, all right, here we go. First one. Go ahead and post your answers in the box below. And let's see how you do. Are we having some trouble here? Oh, there we go. All right. Thank you, Teresa. Teresa's still with me. Ooh. Okay. Are we struggling here? Hello, Maha. All right, throw some questions out at me. I got. What's up, Cassidy? What are you doing back? Mr. Monk streams are back, and cognitive, good. Oh, okay, cool. But next semester, but might as well hop in, see what it's all about. See, that's smart, Maha, because what you can do is you can check out this stream, and then you're just like, oh, this guy's ridiculous or weird or whatever, and then you can drop the class before you even have to worry about it. So that's smart. Yep. Oh, I popped up in the, yeah, well, that's what happens when you're still subscribed, Cassie. We're back to school season, so every week we'll be back. Okay, good. Yes, cognitive is what we are looking for. Excellent. Okay, so remember, when we are looking at cognitive psychologists are looking at how we interpret and process the world. And so one of the major things for cognitive psychologists is this idea that people when they think about how things are going or what is going on in the world, they oftentimes get it really wrong, and they really kind of go off on the deep end for things, or take something to the extreme, which really isn't all that big of a deal. So an example of that would be where a patient comes in to see a cognitive psychologist, and they're talking about how they're walking through the hallway, and they see a couple people like having a conversation, and those two people are just talking, and then they both look over to see as this patient walks by, and they turn back to their conversation, and then they begin to laugh. And we've all had this happen before, where we see people like make eye contact with us, and then they go back to their conversation, they start laughing, and your immediate thought is, oh my gosh, they're like laughing at me, why are they talking about me, what is going on? And cognitive psychologists are trying to help us curtail, to control some of those really extreme thought processes, control the way that we think about the world. So cognitive psychology is all up here. What are ways that we can better solve problems? What are ways that we can better process our emotions? It's all up in the brain. Okay, it's how we think about things. That is cognitive psychology. Albert Ellis, one of the major cognitive psychologists, I don't know if he's on the quiz tomorrow, but definitely a big guy. Okay. All right. So this one, I am gonna post multiple choice answers. So don't always do this, but sometimes this is just what happens. So give me just 1 second. I've gotta post your answer choices. So here's answer choice number 1, number 2. You can just do A, B, C, or D, or E with your answer. Yo. Yes, I mean, you are on this stream right now, so obviously I'm streaming. That is what's happening. Quiz is always multiple choice. 20 questions, multiple choice, and then you'll have your FRQ will be afterwards. And so you'll do, mine just blanked. You'll do the 20 question multiple choice. You'll have 17 minutes for that, and then you will do your FRQ, and you'll have 12 minutes for that. This one's a tough one. Work your way through. One of the best ways to answer this one is to kind of knock off other answer choices. Shrishta, go back. Look at that answer. Go back through. Go through each one of those and knock off your worst ones. You can knock off 1, 2, 3 fairly simply. It should be kind of down to 1 or 2 of them. Don't worry about, Shrishta, don't worry about if you get an answer wrong. Like, guys, if you get an answer wrong on here, just, put in another one. Don't worry about retracting messages. No one cares. It's not a big deal. I certainly don't care. I just want you on the right track. Please keep answering. Okay, so D is the correct answer. So the way I want to answer this is I want to just walk through the other answers. Okay, so which of the following statements is true of behavioralism? All right, letter A. It's formulated on account of cognitive development. Cognitive development, well, that's in the name. Cognition, cognitive, okay? It's talking about how our brain, how we think about things as we grow and change. Behavioralism isn't about our mental processes. That's not what they're worried about. Behavioralism is in the name. It's worried about our behaviors, okay? So, then, it is rooted in Sigmund Freud's view of the importance of early experiences. Letter B. No way. Sigmund Freud's psychoanalytical school of psychology. You've got to get that nailed into your brain. So we'll talk more about Sigmund Freud later, but the triangle that you have for Sigmund Freud is one, you have his name, Sigmund Freud. He is the founder of the psychoanalytical school of psychology, and the psychoanalytical school of psychology is all about the unconscious mind. I'll talk a little bit more about the unconscious mind when we get to one of those questions, but Sigmund Freud, psychoanalytical, unconscious mind. If you can get that triangle down, you'll have it. Like whenever that thing pops up, you'll like know. Okay, Sigmund Freud, he's the guy that started with psychoanalytical psychology. Psychoanalytical psychology is all about the unconscious mind. If you can tag that stuff together, you'll be good to go. So B is out. Letter C, it focuses on the development of the thought processes and knowledge. Again, we're just kind of getting hit with things that don't have to do with behavior. Thought processes, knowledge, not really what we're looking for. Okay, so that's also cognitive. Okay, so then you get to letter D. It holds that development is largely a product of learning. Okay, I don't know, maybe they don't really say anything about behaviors, but learning influences our behaviors, so put a maybe next to that. And then you go to the last one, letter E. It emphasizes the dominance of hereditary over environment. I don't even know what this is talking about, so that doesn't really make any sense. It's not talking about behaviors. Heredity is talking about, what DNA is passed down and how that is more important than your environment. I don't know what the heck that's talking about. That is talking about nature versus nurture, which has nothing to do with what's being asked here. The nature versus nurture debate. What is more influential on you? Your parents and their DNA, or your parents and how they raised you, the community, what they did, your friends, all of that. So the nature side is the DNA that you were given by your parents. The nurture side is the, all your friends and how they helped you grow and develop. Okay, so the answer here is D. It holds the development is largely a product of learning. Okay, so something to note about behavioralism is behavioralism really keys on learning. It keys on this idea that we observe things, and through those observations and through, just reading and writing and all that stuff, we learn to do things that influences our behavior. And so development is strongly like who you are today is a huge portion of that is what you have observed in your environment. How many of you see your brothers and sisters and just like, oh man, they really act like my parents? Or you see your friends get into a new friend group and they start acting completely differently. That is from development, or excuse me, that is from learning how other people act, and positive reinforcement and things of that nature, which we'll get into later. Okay, cool. Okay, good stuff. So let's keep going. If you have a question, please throw it in the comments. This is your time. If something that I'm saying is like, I don't understand that, or hey, can you try this again, or whatever, throw it in the comments. Let me know. Or if there's something that I haven't got to yet, you're talking about ethics and you're like, I want to ask this question about ethics. Throw that in there, please. So this is your time. Like, I will move to whatever you guys want to talk about. I am just putting this stuff up so that we can keep the conversation going, and I'm not just sitting here staring at a screen. Yes, we can. I can go over independent and dependent variables. On a scale of 1 to 10, how hard do you think the quiz is? Good question, Fishy. I think the quiz is really easy. I looked over it today and I got 100 on it. So I'm like, wow, so simple. So I don't know. I don't know whether it's going to be for you, but it's going to be. It was very easy for me. So yeah. Okay. Let's see. Can I find one? That is. Let's see if I can just find one that. Okay, I am looking through all my questions that I have, and I'm like not finding a single one, which I don't understand. Okay, Teresa, I will come back to that. I will get you a question on independent and dependent stuff. I don't know why I don't have something like readily available for that. So, okay. Let's do a... Yeah, I can go over I can go over hindsight bias. Oh, what's up, Arib? I don't judge people's I don't judge people's little YouTube names. I mean, this is coming from the guy that's got like a bulldog diving into water as his avatar, so no judgment, Arib. No judgment. This is totally wink your little brother's account. I can go over biopsychosocial. Yes, I can go over that. Okay, cool. All right, I'm just going to start at the top. Yep, Layla, we can go over that as well. Okay, so let me hit, guys, great. Yeah, hit me with these questions. Love it. Okay, so remember, hindsight bias. This is the I told you so moment. This is where a person has an original belief about something. They have original like estimation or original assumption of what is going to happen. 2 steps down the road, that original assumption gets confirmed. Check that mark. It gets confirmed. So when we originally made our assumption, we were at about a 70. We were like 70% sure. We were just like, yeah, my sports team, you know what? I think we're really good this year. We're going to win the championship. Okay? And then a little bit down the road, that thing happens. So then, as we move along, you're telling your story, you're thinking about it, you're talking to other people. That, when you're telling that original percentage, when you're saying like, oh, from the very beginning, you're not saying, oh, you know what? Yeah, I was pretty sure they were going to win. No way. You're at 100%. You were just like, I knew it from the very beginning. I knew it all along. I told you so. I'm so smart. So the hindsight bias happens when you make an original assumption that is later proven correct. We are then going to overestimate our original assumption. And this is, again, why we need to do psychology, because we're really bad at psychology. And a big part of that is that hindsight bias, is that we think we're really good at stuff, and we're not. Okay, biopsychosocial approach, because she's literally just cut that into pieces. Bio is talking about your brain. How does your brain work and function? If there's damage to it, if it is, if it is like, how do the neurons connect to it? That would make a person really good at something. So it looks at the biology. It looks at the psychology, which is the mental processes, how we think about things, how we work through problems, how creative we are, and then social. Biopsychosocial. Social is just how does our environment, how do the people around us influence the things that we do. So biopsychosocial is really just kind of a combination, a conglomeration of other studies. Okay? Most psychologists this day and age, like if you go see a psychologist, they will have expertise in a lot of these, in multiple areas. Like they'll dabble in behavioralism, they'll dabble in cognitive psychology, they'll dabble in psychoanalytical psychology, psychodynamic psychology, and they'll kind of have it all together. If I answered your question, go ahead and just like give me a thumbs up so I can like see on the bottom, like, okay, I don't have to worry about this later. Okay, in the notes I see correlation doesn't imply causation. Can you please explain this? Yeah, okay, so, dang. Oh no. I don't know if I can hold this up. Okay, hold on. Yeah, okay, so Excuse me. There's something caught in my throat. Okay. So normally I can like, okay, good. So normally I can like pull something up, but I'm not in my normal setup today. So if you just go to that little website, it's called Spurious Correlations. So click on it. It's pretty funny. Goodness gracious. You know when you have like something really small caught in your throat? Goodness. Okay. So you go to this website. Yeah, I'll get to stats. So what it showed, like the first one, is says U.S. spending on science, space, and technology, and then suicides by hanging, strangulation, and suffocation. And so when you look at that from the years 1999 to 2009, and you look at the number, a 99.79 correlation, that's massive. Like that correlation is almost identical. And so, you know, what correlation does not imply causation means is that just because two things seem to like look like they run together does not mean that one of those things causes another. Like the U.S. spending on science, space, and technology is not causing more people to, you know, hang and strangulate themselves. Okay, like that's not what's happening, and not vice versa. However, sometimes things will look like that, and so people are just like, oh my gosh, like they're totally aligned. No, So there's lots of really weird stuff on here if you want to take a look. Like the divorce rate in Maine correlates with the per capita consumption of margarine by 99.26% between 2000 and 2009. Let's see, other really high ones. I don't know. There's a bunch of like ridiculous stuff on here. You just scroll down and they're all just kind of funny. Math doctorates awarded and uranium stored at U.S. nuclear power plants between 1996 and 2008 has a 95.23 correlation. Like whatever the heck that's supposed to mean. So correlation, just because two things are correlated does not mean one causes another. Okay. The triangle rule was Sigmund Freud, psychoanalytical, the unconscious mind. Yes. Correct, Emil. That is correct. Okay, can we go over how to write a FRQ? Sure. Okay, so when you are writing your FRQ, the first thing that you are going to do is that you are going to define something. So normally the way that it looks, give me 2 seconds. Let me see if I can pull something. I just, like on my computer at home, I can pull up a bunch of nonsense all at the same time. And I don't know exactly if I can do it here. Like I just have all of this stuff set up for future stuff. Okay, let's see. Cool, okay. All right, so I have that. Let me see if I can display image slideshow. Computer screen. I have all this stuff like set up, but I don't. Yikes. Okay, hold on, let me see if I can add something. Add browser. Okay. See if we can get the right. No, I don't want to add a browser. I want to add a. Nope. Delete that. I do. Add a. Window capture. Okay. That is not the one I want. I want this one. Can I get... Oh, sorry guys. Oh, yes. Okay. Okay. Technology is wonderful. All right, we've got this. So I'm gonna block out the psychology stream. But don't worry. Okay, there we go. Okay, cool. Okay, so let me get this Good and proper. Oh, wonderful. Okay. Okay, so don't worry about the content because I'm not. This is stuff for learning, which we will get to later on down the road. Is this showing up? Okay, this is showing up. Okay, cool. All right. So when we are writing FRQs, normally what is going to happen is you are going to have a paragraph. Okay, you are going to have some sort of story. Okay, this is a story about Chandra. Okay, now what is then going to happen is, generally speaking, you are going to have between 7 to 8 bullet points that you are going to need to write on. This is a full FRQ. This is not what we're going to do tomorrow. Tomorrow, it will look a little more like this. You will only have one thing to talk about. Just one. Okay? This is still, the expectation is still that there is going to be a paragraph. Okay? So I'm going to give a little bit of a easier example. So I'm just going to do this. Okay? So, how this would work. Okay? So first things first, I would define this. And define, I'm defining reinforcement. Okay? This should take you 2 to 3 sentences. Then I'm going to apply it. This should take anywhere between 3 to 5 sentences. Okay, so I'm just going to do this. Is everyone? Well, you're stuck. I mean, you can leave whenever you want. So I'm just going to do this for you really quick. Let's see how my typing is. Okay, so first things first, I need to define reinforcement. So reinforcement. So this is a big key thing. Reinforcement. Do this. Reinforcement and underline that bad boy. Okay, I'll tell you a little more. I'll tell you a few more secrets tomorrow when we get to it. But I want you to think that every time you're writing an FRQ, that the person you are writing for hates your guts. They hate you so much because they are just sick and tired of grading all of these papers. And so the easier that you can make it for them to read, the quicker they're going to go through your paper. And the hope is that if you are clear and concise from the very beginning, they're going to be like, oh, sweet, this kid's really smart. I'm just going to skim through and just do little check boxes like, oh, yep, you did this. Oh, yep, you did this. So you really want to play on the fact that whoever is grading your paper is very tired and really doesn't like you. So how are we going to do that? We're going to start by making sure that they know exactly what you're talking about. There's no like weirdness. There's no like, oh, are they talking about reinforcement here? Are they talking about, punishment? Like, what are they doing? No, they are talking about reinforcement. So I'm going to say, all right, reinforcement is, let's not underline everything. Okay, so reinforcement is a strategy to build up a specific behavior that we want to continue. Okay, so basically, again, reinforcement is like, hey, there's a behavior over there. We want that behavior to continue. So a person can help reinforce a behavior by giving a reward for that behavior, or possibly taking away something negative that the person doesn't want for the good behavior. Okay, talking there I'm talking about positive and negative reinforcement, which we will get into later. If you are just like, you know what, I felt like this was pretty good, but I want to really hone this in, you could give an example here. So you could say, you don't have to do this. As an example, a mother that wants to potty train her infant might give a cookie to the child after they use the toilet. Done. Okay? So I have given a very quick very concise example of what reinforcement is. It is a strategy to build up a specific behavior that we want to continue. Okay, a person can help reinforce a behavior by giving a reward for that behavior, or possibly taking something away, something negative that the person doesn't want for the good behavior. Okay, and then if I was like, honestly, as Mr. Monk, I'm a little wishy-washy. I don't like my second sentence. If I wasn't like pressed for time, I'd like to clean that up a little bit and make it a little more concise. So because of that, instead of going back, I'm just adding an example sentence. Now, that's the definition. And remember, for definition, if you want, add an example that is outside of the application. Okay. Sometimes I've had students who just tell the stories that I tell. They're just like, oh yeah, Mr. Monk told this ridiculous story and this is how I remembered it. So I wrote that down as my example. If you want to do that in class, I don't care. That works. Okay, so then you would go into the application. So you would be like, in the story, Chandra, I actually haven't read this in a long time. Chandra brought two, in the story, Chandra brought Pavlov and Spot, is 3 years old and understands he's able to follow commands that comes to Spot doesn't know those commands. So then I'm gonna just kind of wrap this up. Oh, can I scroll down on Word? Can you not see? Sorry. No. How's that? Sorry. There we go. My apologies. Yeah. Okay. So in here, sorry. Okay. So on here, you're just applying it to the story. Now you're just saying, okay, so how does Chandra apply reinforcement to this thing? So I'm going to try to do this quickly. Can you see it when I do it like that? Okay, cool. All right. Say rollover. Spot doesn't know those commands, so Chandra is going to try and teach him. Okay. So brought Pavlov and Spot home. She okay, hold on. Let me back this up. Okay. In the story, Chandra wants to teach her dogs. What does she want? Some commands. So what she can do is try to reinforce the good behaviors of the dogs, and especially. Oh, I'm not going to do that. Okay, the dogs by giving them rewards. Boom. Scroll down again. Yes, I can do that. Stop it. Okay. I'm trying to read, but I'm trying to read the thing above and below. Okay. So then what you're gonna do, because I kind of just laid the foundation. So then what you're gonna do is you are gonna you can get into the meat of the examples. You can create whatever the heck you want. So you could say Chandra wanted Spot to be more like Pavlov, so she brought Spot along, or blah, blah, blah. She brought Spot into her dining room and told Spot to sit. When he did so, she gave him a cookie. Boom. There we go. And then maybe you can kind of fluff it up a little bit more. You maybe talk a little bit about Pavlov as well, but there you go. That's it. You could almost get away with doing this in 2 sentences because it is fairly simple. And that's it. That's all you're doing. You are defining the thing, and then you are applying it to the situation at hand. And it really is just that simple. You don't need to go crazy. One of the big things that you need to look at is that you don't need an intro sentence, you don't need a conclusion, you are literally just diving right into whatever the heck you are supposed to be writing about. You don't need any sort of nonsense. Just get right into it. Don't worry about anything else. Okay, cool. Are you going to be no? For I don't give a gosh darn about spelling or grammar. The only thing I care about, like, if I can't read what you're saying, then there's a problem. But grammar is never going to be checked. I'm never going to do, scratching through like, oh, you misspelled this. I don't give a gosh darn. You need to, again, one of the things that you need to make sure that you're doing is you're making sure that you're not making your grader angry. So make it as easy as possible. Don't be throwing out text lingo or whatever. Like, try to be as concise as possible. But if you misspell something, if you're just like, I don't know how to spell that, just try to get as close as possible. Like, and maybe just like put a smiley face next to it if you butchered something. I don't know. Okay. All right, there we go. So I got to scroll back up because I got to find some. Okay. Yes. So Layla, there you go. Hopefully that helped. Can you go over what we need to know for the statistics notes? Yes. Okay, Ashi. I don't care about, like, you need to know how, like, if you have to put a pen and pencil, like, pencil to paper to try to solve an equation, you're doing the wrong thing. That's not going to happen. I've never seen that on an AP exam, where someone's had to, like, scratch out, like, find literally the standard deviation. The only reason... Oh, sorry, Luca. The only reason why I have... Oh, by the way, Luca's over here. This is one of my girlfriend's cats, Luca. So he's over here exploring, and he's not really sure why I'm giving him attention. Waiting for Dirk to come. Dirk's the other cool cat. And then I don't know where Teddy is. Oh, there's Teddy. He's snoozing. He's had a busy day. Okay, I'll bring Teddy out before we close out. Yep. See, anytime I bring an animal in, viewership always goes up. People are always more interested in cats. Or, well, actually, this is the first. Luca, you're the first cat. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Thanks. Yeah, this is the first time. Luca, you're the first cat that's ever been on the show. That's a big deal. Good job, Luca. Okay. So you just need to know, like, what is variance, what is standard deviation. You need to know mean, median, mode. You need to know range. You just need to know those definitions, and you'll be good to go. Okay. All right. Did that. So is every document going to be on the quiz? Everything that we've covered is fair game. Okay, will we be quizzed on specific things like names and dates for each of their approaches? Heck no. No, I've got better things to do with my life than try to get you to remember dates. So, no. Knowing specific people is just helpful to, like, help you triangulate and get the numbers in. But, yeah, you definitely don't need to know... you don't need to know anything. Oh, see? Got another viewer. I'm telling you, animals. Animals are a big thing. I usually have a Teddy cam, but I only have the laptop camera. So I'm pretty sure next week I'll be at my place. So we'll have Teddy cam up so you can watch him while he sleeps. Gestalt psychology, sure. Okay, hold on. Let me get to the bottom. Is everyone? I'm trying to catch up. Guys. Okay. So, where are we? What exactly from elephants on acid should we review? Don't worry about elephants on acid. You need to know about the ethics, but you don't need to know about any of those experiments. That's just to kind of like get you interested in what we're doing in the class. Okay, Emil, Gestalt psychology. Okay, so Gestalt psychology was brought together by a number of German psychologists, and basically these guys got together and they let me do something really quick because where did this go? Is this window capture too? I can add that. Cool. All right. So these German psychologists, they put together a they combined together and started to look at psychology. And one of the major things that they did was they looked at, okay, how does your brain take all of the things that we deal with on a daily basis, and how does it get it to a manageable amount. We'll talk about this way more when we get into sensation and perception. But I need you to think for just 1 second how much your brain takes in on a moment-to-moment basis. Just think about walking through school. How much sound, smell, sight, touch, all of those things that are happening all at the same time, and how your brain filters that out. You have conversations at lunch, and you are still able to listen to your friend that's right in front of you and tune out everything. So Gestalt psychology is mostly focused on perception. How is it that our brain condenses and processes all of these little bits and paints it into a big picture? So it's talking about all the little small pieces and how does it make it one massive whole, one whole thing. So that's what Gestalt psychology is all about. Yeah, so cool. All right, that's Gestalt psychology. Okay, what are confounding variables? Okay, so remember, confounding variables are variables. It can be literally anything that is outside the study, and it's not good. They always mess with the study. So I am taking an IQ test. A confounding variable might be the fact that it's really hot inside the classroom. If you are sitting there trying to take an IQ test and you are dripping with sweat, is that going to influence your score? Yes. Does that say something about your IQ? Heck no. It's just super dang hot. Okay? So those are things that, like anything that's outside. Let's say that you had a really smelly person sitting next to you. Oh my gosh, like that would be super awkward, like, and you're trying to like focus on the test, but the person's farting or whatever. That would be a confounding variable. You could have like a really famous actor that's there, your favorite actors for some reason taking an IQ test, but you can't concentrate because you're trying to look over at your favorite actor. Boom. Okay, good. All right, those are confounding variables. All right, a bunch of people telling me to please scroll down. So the FRQ and the quiz, it's 2 grades. 2 grades, Arib. 2 separate grades. Are you going to be really serious about grammar and spelling? Nope, I already answered that. Do we need to know any dates other than William James and Wilhelm Wundt? Nope. For the approaches, how are we going to use it on the quiz? I'll just ask you, here, I'll put up another question for you, because I've been asking a bunch of stuff. Like the questions that I've been posting here on the stream, those are the types of things that, those are the types of questions that you'll see asking you about the approaches. Okay. Yeah, Farah, you posted that twice. I apologize. I was trying to get to it. I was a little behind. Do we need to know what P and R are? No, I'm not gonna talk to you about P and R. How much time will we get for the multiple choice? 17 minutes for the multiple choice. Can you explain what cognitive psychology? Burner, get here on time, and you will have heard cognitive psychology. I already gave that spiel. Give me a second. If I get through all of this, I will go back to it. Should we review the rules of research on humans and animals? Yeah, definitely. Yeah, Irvin, 100%. Irvin Fridge. Oh man, Irvin, wouldn't it be so cool if that was your actual last name? Ooh, did I get a dislike? It always happens. Some sassy character gives me a dislike. It's devastating. And this is why I cry myself to sleep every night, guys. These dislikes. Oof, devastating. Okay. I had one student 1 year who, yep, see? And I always get, and every time I say that, I always get a few more likes and then definitely at least one more dislike. I don't care. I had one student last year who was just absolutely every time I got to give them a dislike. Every single episode, they gave me a dislike. I don't care. They mad they're not as good. Oh, Arib, I appreciate that, but no, people are just having fun. It doesn't bother me. So, okay. So, yes, humanistic is the correct answer. Okay, so I'm going to put up another question, and then I am going to answer Berner's question so that They have that. Okay, here we go. And so here's the next question. Good job on the humanistic, guys. Well done. Okay. So, cognitive psychology. Remember, cognitive psychology is talking about how you mentally process information. Okay, so how you yes, I can explain humanistic. So, how you understand and work through problems, how you think about things. So, Albert Ellis is one of the major cognitive psychologists, and I was talking to you guys a little bit about it earlier, but it's what is known as rational emotive therapy. And basically, it is teaching people to reprocess they try to reprocess the information. Oh my gosh, sorry. Okay, sorry. Someone just sent me a text message, and it was like, my aunt just texted me, and she said, "What headset do you use? The sound is so clear." I don't know. Is she talking about? Wait, is my aunt on this stream? Aunt Victoria, are you watching this? I don't know how you got this information. Okay, so yes, psychoanalytical for those people. Okay, so rational emotive therapy is about rethinking the way that you work through the world. We can be so sporadic, we can be so over the top with how we think about things and how we process the world around us, that if we can just kind of bring ourselves back down. So often we think the world revolves around us, that the things that people do have are because of us. A really good example of this is you're in a relationship with someone and they break up with you. And, oftentimes what happens is you kind of go in this spiral of okay, what's wrong with me? Why am I a bad person? And you just think all about me, what is wrong with me, when in reality, they're just they have a vision of what they want in this world. And this is what happens with most healthy relationships where things go sour, is that person A sees this vision for their life, and as they get to know person B a little bit more, they just don't really fit into that. It's not really what they want. And so when person A breaks up with person B, they're just hey, this is the vision that I see my life in, and you're just not in it. And person B will take that in and be oh my gosh, I'm a terrible person, I'm awful, if I'm not good enough for you, then I'm not good enough for anybody. And a cognitive psychologist, someone who's working with rational emotive therapy, is well, listen, this probably isn't about you. Whatever person A did, they made those decisions for their own reasons. You can't put words in their mouth. You can't create stories on why they did the things. They explained to you that, hey, this is just me, this is what I see. And so it's about really kind of reeling in those really extreme reactions that we can have at times. Okay, let's see. Okay, I'm getting another question up, and then I saw another. Okay. Goodness gracious, these are. I had some questions, but I think these are not what I was thinking they were. Okay, here we go. Got one. Okay. Someone asked me for, yes, humanistic psychology. All right. Oh, humanistic psychology is my jam. Carl Rogers, Abraham Maslow, sign me up. Okay. So we're going to talk more about these guys at the very end of the semester when we get into a little bit of therapy and a little bit of social psychology. So humanistic psychology is all about is a reaction. Humanistic psychology is a reaction. It is a reaction to the cold and calculating attitude of psychoanalytical and behavioral psychologists. So the founder of the humanistic approach is a gentleman by the name of Carl Rogers. And Carl Rogers didn't like the way that patients were treated in by therapists. He felt like it was very much that a patient would come in and the psychologist would sit in their chair, and there was literally a period of time, the psychodynamic approach, the psychoanalytical approach, they had this setup where the person would lay on a bed and face this way. Okay, so they're facing this way, and the psychologist would literally sit behind them and face the other way, because it was believed that if the psychologist was like looking at them, that the emotions of the psychologist, the emotions of the patient would disrupt the interview, the session. And so Carl Rogers is like, man, like, this is not how people talk to each other. Like, this is not how relationships are. People don't, like, not look at each other and, like, communicate their thoughts, feelings, and emotions. So he steps in and he's just like, listen, we've got to change things. We have to put the person that is struggling first. And we've got to stop treating them like patients. And so what he created is what is known as client-centered therapy, where the whole identity of the person that was being treated was changed. They're not a patient anymore. I'm not a person that is going to tell you exactly what to do. Patients are for medical doctors. When you go to the hospital, the doctor's going to tell you to do this, this, and this. It's not a conversation. You're sick. I know what to do. Carl Rogers is like, that's not how this is going to be. We're together. We are a team. And my job is to help you become the best person that you can possibly be. So I'm going to encourage you to do things. I'm going to use active listening techniques where, you know the difference between someone who's like totally listening to your conversation. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. And someone who's like there with you, asking probing questions, giving you the, okay, yeah. And then like, oh, but what would happen like this? Like, the difference between two people who are someone who's really listening and someone who's, just there. And so Carl Rogers started doing this, and he just did these simple things, active listening techniques. He wasn't telling people what to do. He was trying to help them kind of sort things out on their own. He would give some advice, but a lot of times people know what they're supposed to do. They just need some support. They just need maybe a little bit of guidance, maybe a little bit of, hey, I've got your back. And so when Carl Rogers started, he was having grown men walk into his room and 30 minutes later just coming out absolutely bawling. And they were saying, like, this is the first time I've ever felt like anyone has actually listened to me. And so humanistic psychology is all about trying to help people become the best version of themselves. I know there's like language being tossed around, like, be your best self or whatever. It sounds dumb. But genuinely speaking, you are there to try to help guide them to be their best, the best version of themselves, to be at their peak. And, it's not judgmental. Unconditional positive regard is another major facet of client-centered therapy. Doesn't matter that you kick puppies or, stole money from your mom or whatever. Like, we are trying to help you become the best version of yourself. And whatever that looks like we've got to, I'm there, I'm your teammate, I'm there with you. Okay? That's humanism. Okay, good. Is human psychology going to be on the quiz? Yeah, of course. Why wouldn't it be? I mean, I just spent like 5 minutes talking about it. Gosh darn hope. I mean, it is open to being on the quiz. It is available to be on the quiz. Whether or not it actually is on the quiz, you never know. Okay, the correct answer to the question above is introspection. In the earliest research participant had been, it is. It is a introspection is part of structuralism, but I wouldn't have that. I wouldn't have both structuralism and introspection as an answer choice. So you just have that. Okay, let me put up another question. Let's see. I have not. Let's see if I can get something else. Get another couple questions before we call it here. If you guys have anything, let me know. If you have any further questions, I'm trying to get something up here for you. Okay, here we go. I did Gestalt psychology. Those were the German dudes. You don't remember? What's the difference between variance and standard deviation? Okay. So variance is just talking about all of the different plot points, all the different sets of data. So, okay. So let's say that you had I'm just going to keep this as simple as possible. Let's say you had all of the students at Austin High School take an IQ exam. We wanted to know about students in Fort Bend ISD, and so we gave all students of Austin High School an IQ test. Okay, so the variance is going to be how spread out those individual pieces are. Okay, how, when you lay out, when you've got your x-axis or whatever, and you have 100 in the middle, and then 115, 130, and then 85 and 70, and you spread that out, how away from each other, how scattered are those groupings, or are those individuals. And so the higher the variance, the more just all these things are all over the place. The lower the variance, the closer they are in. And standard deviation is talking about distance from the mean. So deviation is your standard distance from the mean. So let me pull this up. Let me give you a picture of it, because that is important. Okay. Can I just pull up, add browser, okay, and then can we do that? Okay, is that gonna do it? Yeah, okay, that's good enough. Okay, let me scroll in. Can I zoom in? Does that change it? Don't stop doing that. Oh my gosh, why you gotta be like this? Why you gotta do me like this, Google? Can you guys see that okay? Okay. Okay, so standard deviation. Okay, so standard deviation is talking about what is the average distance away from your average, from your mean. Okay, so in this picture, what you see is your bell curve. Okay, so get used to this. This is a bell curve. This is showing whenever we do some sort of study or we get a bunch of data points, this is what your data generally will look like. The big hump in the middle is talking about that's where the majority of your population sits. So this 34.1% and 34.1% is 68%. So 68% of your population is going to sit within one standard deviation of your mean. So you can see that there's the middle right here, and then it's -1 standard deviation and +1 standard deviation. Okay, and the further that you get away, so between 1 standard deviation and 2 standard deviation, so for IQ scores, IQ the mean of IQ is 100, plus 1 standard deviation is 115, plus 2 standard deviation is 130. And so you can see that the number of people between 115 and 130 is only 13.6. And then between 130 and 145 is only 2.1. And above 145 is only 0.1% of the population. So it's just talking about, on average, how many people are in that group. What is that like? What is the average number of people that sit within these different standard deviations? It's just talking about your population and where they are. Okay, good. Yes, case study is correct. Good, Ashi. Okay, can you briefly go over the other approaches that you haven't talked about? Aaron, you got to ask me specific ones. I don't just like go over a bunch of stuff. If you have one that you need me to go over, you need to let me know. Emil, good. Yes. Will we be able to use calculators on the quiz? Rashida, you will not need one. Like, there is no point where you should, like, they don't give you one on the AP exam. You don't need one. Yeah. Can you please give an example of one of the stats questions? Yes, I can, if I can find one quickly enough. Okay, here we go. Oh no. Okay. It's gonna have to take me just 1 second to find one. I don't have the one I have. I don't like, and so I gotta go. So here we go. So it might be something like that. If we do bad on the quiz, is there any way you can make up for it? No, just don't do bad on the quiz. You have all the information that you need, just don't do bad on it. So you'll be good. Okay, Teddy, come here. Come here. Teddy, they want you. Come on. I know you're tired. You ran a bunch today. Come on. Come on. All right, so Teddy and I are going to go have dinner. Pooja, what's happening? Welcome back, girl. How are you? So this is Teddy. He's tired. He's already eaten. He's ready to go back and take a nap. So, yeah. So, okay, guys. Well, thank you very much. I'm doing well, Pooja. Always glad to have you on. We survived. We survived the first year of COVID. We'll see how the second year is. So, no problem. Thank you very much for hopping on. Tonight, make sure you get a good night's rest. Don't stay up too late studying. You just do a little bit more and then get a good night's rest, okay? Yeah, looking forward to seeing you guys tomorrow. Have a good night, and we will see you mañana. Later, guys.